I'm watching Meghan Markle's new show, thinking if there is one thing she lacks, it's authenticity. Why is it so hard for her?
Authentic is not her strength, is it? No, she's, I don't know why it's so difficult for her just to be normal, just to be a normal person. You know, not everyone's exciting, not everyone's particularly witty or got something that makes them unique, but I think everyone is pretty much likable if they're authentic. You know, you can give a good representation of just about anybody, particularly if you've got the sort of team she has behind her. And yet, despite all of that, what you see on the screen is so unlikable, it's not relatable, it's inauthentic, as you said, and it just comes off as strange in parts. Like, this is someone who does not exist in the real world. She's in some sort of parallel universe where she thinks what she's producing for this program, this content, is some idealistic version of, of herself. But it just doesn't translate. It doesn't come across that way. So I don't know. I don't know if she's always been like this or whether this has been something since she married into the royal family. But gosh, I didn't like her from the start, I've got to say. And that was unusual. Back in that, like now everyone bags Meghan. It's like a national sport in Australia anyway. But when everybody adored her, when everyone was just so excited about her joining the royal family and she was going to be the best thing, and everyone, because Harry was for so long the favourite, along with the Queen, those two were the two favourite royals, and they loved Meghan as well. I mean, this is the thing that this couple have tried to memory hold, that the British press was so nasty and the British public was so, no, she was adored. The adoration was over the top. And I remember, because I was one of the very few here in Australia who was like, nah, I can see red flags everywhere.
This is brutal. Sky News Australia host Rita Panahi has just ripped Meghan Markle to shreds, calling her fake, out of touch and completely unrelatable. And honestly, she's not wrong. Rita goes in on Meghan's Netflix show with Love, Meghan, saying it's so staged and artificial that even the Kardashians seem more authentic in comparison. And let's be real. If you're making the Kardashians look classy, you've got a problem. Let's break down this total disaster. So, let's start with what Rita Panahi had to say about Meghan's Netflix show. Because trust me, it is savage. Rita completely shreds Meghan's attempt at being relatable, calling her so painfully inauthentic that it's almost uncomfortable to watch. And honestly, she's 100% right.
I'm so impressed by that. Do you remember specifically anything that stood out to you as to why? I mean, of course, we can
Um,
look back now and be like, okay, only her mom was at her freaking second wedding. I mean, that's crazy. But other than that, she really, to me, played the part well of Little Miss. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so lucky to be
It
here.
was too much. To me,
Yeah.
was again, I just saw that it was inauthentic to me from the start. It was too much. I felt like she was putting on like she was putting on an act. It was not genuine. It was almost too syrupy. So no, I don't know. I just right from the start, I was like, I'm not buying whatever this girl's selling. And in the
And now
early
it's
days,
jam. Now it's jam that she's selling, by the way.
now she's well, is she? Because I don't think you can actually order any jams. I'm
Not yet.
fascinated by this bizarre wellness website. Was it lifestyle website she has with a stupid name that she's now changed? That doesn't seem to actually sell anything. So I'm wondering where's the income coming from? Because normally when you get into that sort of business, you do some business. She's not selling anything, Kinsey. What's going on?
Exactly. Well, you are in the business of TV, making good TV. And, when we work in this space, we're constantly looking at analytics and numbers. And they've even got it down to when people switch off the TV. So people can tell you, hey, this person, they don't like when you talk about this topic. So let's not talk about this topic anymore. Now, Meghan Markle, and we've talked about the new show. For the Love of God has a second season coming out. It's already
Why?
been filmed. Exactly. It's already been filmed. But what nobody has reported yet, except for Dateline, I'm sorry, Deadline Hollywood here, has reported that Meghan had the second season already greenlit. So, my question to you is, as an entertainer, perhaps did Meghan's team secure the 2 seasons before agreeing to do anything to avoid the humiliation of being canceled after, because these shows are cheap, to avoid the
That?
humiliation?
Well, they're not doing her any favors by having a second season. I'm sure they're doing themselves favors because it keeps them in a job. So good for them. But unless it's the content is going to be dramatically different, and I don't know how that's going to be the case with her as the subject matter as well as being an executive producer, unless it's going to be a dramatic different program, no one's interested. People are watching just to mock it. People are watching it for giggles and for mockery. It's so I don't know why she would want to be presented like that. I mean, it's not like she needs the money. It's not like she needs the fame. People know who she is. So why she subjects herself to this is beyond me. I don't know if she's just poorly advised. She's got a bunch of yes people around her who say, well, this is going to change your public persona. Everyone's going to love this Meghan version of Meghan. But I just don't understand why if you've got the life she has, she's a mum of 2 young kids, she's got all the money that she'll ever need, she's got the fame, why produce absolutely full content that you know is just going to be mocked, that is just no good. And it's not even like, if she was, it was a passion project and she didn't care about the criticism, she just wanted to get some, but this is not a passion project. It's vacuous. It's just the worst of reality TV. It makes Keeping Up with the Kardashians seem like Citizen Kane. This is trash. I mean, at least Keeping Up with the Kardashians, it's got raw bits. Yeah, it's overproduced in other parts, but there's things there that would make those individuals feel uncomfortable about it being aired. But they understand that if you want to get a bundle of money for showcasing your life, you've actually got to showcase a few real pieces, not just the glossy version that you want the world to see.
One of the biggest criticisms of Meghan's show is that she's trying way too hard to sell this lifestyle guru image. Everything feels staged, scripted, and forced. It's like she's playing a role rather than just being herself. And here's the kicker. Rita says Meghan is so fake that even the Kardashians seem more genuine in comparison. Ouch. Think about that. The Kardashians, who literally built an empire on reality TV manipulation, seem more real than Meghan Markle. That's how bad this is. And let's be honest, this isn't the first time Meghan has come across as fake. Remember her Oprah interview? The scripted tears, the dramatic pauses, the woe is me act? This is just more of the same, but this time people aren't falling for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, social media evolving the way it is. The videos that get the most views and likes are people sitting in their car, are, very bizarre and raw, and it's not the beautiful fruit tray that's typically going to win over when it comes to
The rainbow fruit tray? Was it
yeah,
rainbow?
yes.
Like what? Why? Why would you do that? I mean, who does that? I mean, maybe if you were throwing some elaborate party and you were going to do a massive fruit tray and you thought, oh, yeah, I've got the time to do this in some sort of a rainbow formation. But to sort of be doing, oh, this is like my everyday life. I, go to the bees and then I make some bath salts and move some pretzels from one bag to another. Like, what? This is the thing with this. It's not even, sometimes reality TV is not relatable, but it's aspirational in a way or entertaining. So, you look at the Real Housewives series and you got the women with these, lifestyles that are maybe out of reach to people, but there's some aspirational factor and there's certainly some, drama and trash there that also keeps them entertained. I can't imagine anyone watching this would be aspiring to have what she has. Like, I wish I could go home and, make a massive fruit platter in a rainbow shape, like it, or have people around who are obviously not lifelong friends, who I'm pretending are lifelong friends, and cooking a meal together. Like none of it to me was appealing in that sense. And I think again that's another myth. There's a certain formula for reality TV, and this is what this is. Let's not pretend it's some documentary or lifestyle cooking series. It's essentially reality TV, but it's reality TV done really poorly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when she is like not, when she doesn't even know that her friend is left-handed, the person that has that hand in
Oh,
your face for years because he's supposed to be your makeup artist, it any sort of sincerity and credibility goes out the window.
well, yeah, this is supposed to be a show where she has her closest friends with her to cook with, and she's got the makeup artist who, yeah, she doesn't know about the peanut allergy. She doesn't know he's left-handed. He ends up bloody cutting himself. But his staff, Kinsey, his staff. Now, look,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with being mates with people who you pay to work for you, but don't try to present them as lifelong mates or,
But it's all,
very,
doesn't it also look incredibly insincere when you have years and years of bully allegations against you? It's just too obvious that you're trying to sweep away bully allegations by going, look at all these people that work for me that I'm nice to. Look, it's
yeah.
on video. I want to ask you about Thomas Markle, who said of the show, it's sad because she's trying so hard to stay in the limelight. You kind of referenced this earlier. She's got the money in her bank account. She has, according to Meghan, she has the most perfect lifestyle ever. Why is she trying to stay? Is this ego driven? And if so, that would make so much sense.
And here's where things get even worse. Because Rita Panahi says Meghan is living in a parallel universe, where she thinks she's relatable. And honestly, he's right. Look at the way Meghan presents herself in With Love, Meghan. She's in this luxurious Pinterest-perfect kitchen, talking about simple living, while wearing designer clothes and expensive jewelry. Who is this supposed to appeal to? She's literally telling people to sprinkle flower petals on their food, and talking about living with intention, as if she's some kind of spiritual guru. But let's be real. Does Meghan Markle actually live a simple life? She's living in a $14 million Montecito mansion, flying on private jets and dining at exclusive restaurants. Meanwhile, she's out here trying to sell the idea that she's just like us? Give me a break.
I think it is. I think it's ego driven. I think maybe it's a desire for more money because they managed to secure these insane deals, despite the fact that no one seems to be watching the content really beyond people mocking it. So yeah, the maths of all that is confusing to me. But I think as much as that, I think it's a desire to relaunch her image, to try to show the world that the way I've been presented or the way I'm perceived now is not accurate and I'm actually this ideal person. And the more we see of her, though, the worse the opinions become. I mean, when she was most adored and loved was in the early days where, there was a bit of mystery about her, despite the
Yeah.
fact that she'd been an actress and she'd been on Deal or No Deal. But people, I mean, she wasn't a big star. So, there were no interviews or there was really no insights into who she was. So she had this mystery about her, and that worked in her favor. The more we see, the more interviews we see, the more deeping, meaningful conversations with the like of Oprah, the less we like her. So that's a fundamental problem. If her goal is to be loved again by the public, but the product is working against her, then I don't know how you do that. I just think she's poorly advised because anybody who's close to her who has seen this project and they would have seen, it's very heavily produced and edited, you see the product, you go, nah, let's just scrap this and start again. Or maybe we keep 10 minutes and that's it.
Yeah.
Because if the goal is to produce compelling TV, that wasn't it. If the goal is to rehabilitate her image. That's not it. So I really just don't know what the point of the whole exercise was,
You're
other
absolutely
than to
right.
get a paycheck.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I always say that that's one of the best, that's one of the royal family strengths. I don't know anything about them, and that makes them appealing to me. The more I know about them, I feel like I would like them less. And I think that that's one of the reasons why people dislike King Charles. I mean, we heard the tampon call. Okay, you know, that's we've had the TMI when it comes to King Charles. Okay, so it's been 4 years now since Meghan told Oprah Winfrey in March of 2021 that she almost lost her name to the British royal family. And now she's scolding Mindy Kaling, who's supposed to be her quote unquote girl, my girl Mindy, for not calling her Sussex. Talk about the hypocrisy of this. I mean, do you think the average person is sitting back going, we've watched you rip into the British royal family for the last 5 years? This seems ridiculous that you're now clinging on, like, for dear life, to this title.
Well, they love the titles. They fought tooth and nail to make sure their kids have titles. I mean, there's a couple who are all about equity and, you know, that we are disowning that entire institution. But gosh, they do love the titles, don't they? They haven't given those up. Yeah, of course. I mean, is there anything she does that doesn't just drip with hypocrisy? And the way she did it with Mindy, I thought was a little bit harsh. Like her reasons for it, I think, are valid. And I know a lot of women who've previously said, you know, I would never change my name. It's so patriarchal to change your name after marriage, all this crap. And then they have kids and they say, I want to have the same name as my kids. And if you don't want to hyphenate the name, then, you know, typically you take on the husband's name or the partner's name, whatever. So that I don't have an issue with. But then most of those women haven't gone on Oprah and you know, moaned about almost losing their name, the name that they got from their father, who they've disowned, by the way. So, I
Yeah.
mean, everything about Meghan is just, you know, why?
Yes.
She's, yeah, I would love to say she's a complex gal, but she actually isn't. I think that's part of the problem, because
Yeah.
when you see more and more of her, there's not much there. It's so
Yeah.
surface level. There's not much substance. There's not that much that is interesting, you know, good or bad, and it just makes you like bored. I mean, that was, I think, the
100%.
heaviest criticism I have of this entire project is not that it's self-delighted, it's unnecessary, it's fake, it's whatever, is that it's bloody boring.
This is exactly why Rita Panahi says Meghan's show is so cringeworthy, because it's so detached from reality that it's almost laughable. And honestly, she's not wrong. Now let's go back to where this all started, because Kinsey, Schofield and Rita Panahi talk about how Meghan's Little Miss Perfect act was suspicious from the very beginning. When Meghan first joined the royal family, she played the role of grateful, humble outsider. But now, we can all see that it was just an ACT. Kinsey points out that the British press initially loved Meghan. She was treated like the new Princess Diana. But now, she's trying to rewrite history and claim she was mistreated from the start. That is a lie.
If you entertain me, I'll forgive anything, and I'll watch, you know, I've got an appetite for trashy TV. I like watching The Real Housewives and, you know, sort of just train wreck TV. It's a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. But this is just boring, Kinsey. Like,
I
it's a
know.
chore. It's a chore to sort of even watch a few minutes of it.
That's the damn truth. There's like also
Mm.
when you talk about the hypocrisy there, when she's talking to Mindy, for some reason, she keeps saying she's a latchkey kid. And she talks about how she ate
Mm.
TV dinners and she ate a lot of Taco Bell and Jack in the Box. But I literally found an episode of a cooking show where she is a judge. And this is like around the Suits time. And she's got the TIG. And she is a judge on a Food Network cooking show for children. And the child's plate is in front of her. And she says to this little girl, you know, this reminds me of like growing up in California, that farm to fork lifestyle I grew up with. I'm like, what? Why
Ah,
do you have to lie? Were you the Jack in the Box girl or were you the farm to fork girl? And now she's telling us she's the farm to fork girl. But when she did that interview with Variety Magazine a few years ago, she told Variety Magazine that In-N-Out Burger here in the States has their order memorized when they pull up. I guess it's just one of my consistent issues with Harry and Meghan is they exaggerate almost absolutely everything. And I guess aside from calling them blatant liars, it just feels like another exaggeration.
They certainly have a very interesting relationship with the truth, the pair of them. What was that great line the Queen said? Recollections
Recollections may vary.
may vary. It's fantastic. And yeah, we saw that with that Oprah interview. There was just so many untruths, falsehoods uttered in that. Even I think the BBC had some article where they listed, I don't know,
17. Yeah.
50, 17 untruths. So that's pretty bad for one interview. And I think there were actually a few more. So this is a reoccurring theme where the narrative, well, the history, her truth is changed to fit whatever is in front of her at the moment. So, she can be farm to fork in this setting, but now she's, surviving on fast food and there's no mum or dad around to take care of her. It's what did we start saying at the very start of this chat was inauthentic.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and it's the worst thing you can be. Some people get away with it. Some people are good at it. She's not good at it. But I think almost everybody eventually gets found out. You can only fake it for so long.
Absolutely. All right. Well, here's my last question to you because you're an expert in the space of media. Meghan's done 2 pieces of promotion for her series. Prince Harry, I think, did maybe two to 4 pieces of promotion for Spare. But with Meghan, it's People Magazine, basically her spokespeople at this point, and Drew Barrymore, one trip and fall away from fornicating with each and every one of her guests. But I feel like what cowards, their PR strategy is pretty simple. Don't go anywhere where you might be challenged. We've mentioned the Oprah Winfrey interview a couple of times now. Oprah just goes, what? Gasps instead of saying, no, I need to know who the racist is, or, any pushback whatsoever. As somebody in the media that watches the media, that monitors this stuff, is this strategy sustainable? I feel like it could be if they were working members of the British royal family, but they're reality stars now.
And let's not forget, when Meghan got married, only her mother was at her wedding. No friends, no family, no lifelong connections. Red flag. So here's the question. Was Meghan playing a role from day one? Was her entire humble act just a calculated move to gain sympathy? Because at this point it's looking more and more obvious. And now let's talk about the bigger picture. Because this Netflix disaster is proving that even Hollywood is done with Meghan. Rita Panahi and Kinsey Schofield both agree. Hollywood was originally excited about Meghan. She got a $100 million Netflix deal, a Spotify contract, and endless media attention. But now, the tide has turned. Spotify canceled her after 1 season. Netflix canceled her animated show Pearl. Her docuseries flopped after the first few episodes. And now with Love, Meghan is being mocked by critics.
They are, and if you want to maximize the audience, you do have to do greater promotion than Drew Barrymore and People Magazine. It is cowardly in one sense, but then you think, is it a calculated decision by her team and perhaps her, because they know, if she doesn't come across wonderfully well in an easy softball interview, how's she going to come across if she's actually challenged? How's she going to come across if some of the various versions of stories she has told over the years is brought to her and she's asked to actually, clarify what the truth is? How's she going to cope with that? So that's, I can understand. If I was advising her, I probably wouldn't tell her to go somewhere where she's going to face some hard questioning, because I reckon she will struggle and she'll come off looking very bad. But if she can handle it, of course, you would do the full gamut of programs, every late night TV show. And the thing is, the truth is, the overwhelming majority of them would give her an easy run. Let's be honest. Yeah, most of them will. Like if she goes on, there's a couple of people I can think of. If she goes and sits down, I don't know, with Megyn Kelly, she's going to possibly
lose her head.
Can you imagine? Oh my God, she'll Yeah, that would not be
But you're
pretty
right.
for
Like Jimmy
the
Kimmel,
Meghan
totally
versus
misread.
Meghan. Oh,
Yeah.
that would all be fawning over her, just like that
Yes.
have with her husband. But if she say came up against Meghan Kelly, and oh my God, I would buy popcorn for that. But you know what? No, she'd be absolutely slaughtered because she can't match wits with someone like that, and she's just going to be hit with, you said this, but this is the reality. You said this, but this is actually true. You said this and you said this. They're completely separate stories. What's the truth? Can you imagine her coping with that kind of questioning? It would be,
A
it would
nightmare.
be a catastrophe. You know what? That would be a reality show I would watch.
Exactly.
Meghan Markle going to hostile media, doing interviews, doing this car. I would watch that. That would be fascinating. The build up to it, the aftermath, in the fetal position, just, thinking about how it all went wrong. I would watch that. Now that would be entertaining.
Well, I consider you in the same category as Megyn Kelly. That I would watch. I would
Hopefully.
watch Rita versus Meghan one all day, every day. Rita
No,
Panahi,
we need Meghan versus Meghan. We can make it happen. It's made to happen. Oh, I
yes,
mean, you would tear her apart as well because nobody knows more about the royals and Meghan, and all the fibs she has told over the years
there's a
than
lot.
you. There's a lot. Well, I mean, one of my favorite ones was like, oh, I didn't even know about the royal family. I didn't know what it brought. Like her young friends from school said she had a fascination with it. Like, why lie about stuff that you don't need to lie about? There's one thing to lie when
Yeah.
you may feel cornered, but to build this entire false history of who you were is, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll never understand this girl.
So the question is, how much longer will Hollywood put up with Meghan? Because at this rate, she's running out of chances. And here's the harsh truth. Meghan thought she was going to be the next Oprah. But instead, she's becoming the next big Hollywood failure. And if she doesn't turn things around soon, her career is done. So let's break it all down. Meghan Markle's Netflix show is a total disaster. Rita Panahi destroys Meghan for being fake and unrelatable. Critics say with love, Meghan is so scripted it makes the Kardashians look authentic. Meghan's Little Miss Perfect act is exposed. Was she fake from the start? Hollywood is turning on Meghan. Is this the end of her career?
It's very hard to believe. Aside from, you're right, Andrew Morton reported that she had a Princess Diana book on her shelf. Andrew Morton found the woman that gave it to her. But it's hard to believe that a blogger, a woman that blogged for a living, never Googled her boyfriend in the modern day. And I'm sorry, but that is absolutely, that's the biggest one. You're right. That's the biggest
Please.
crock of them all.
She started off badly, and one of the reasons why, one of the few other people who, early on saw the red flags, but he had a much more, in-depth relationship with her. It wasn't just observing her, was Piers Morgan. So she sort of sought him out when he was the biggest star compared to her,
Yeah.
and was like his best friend, came to London, had lunch, all this stuff, messaged him on I think Twitter is how they first made contact. And as soon as she went on that date with Harry and there was something happening there, he was ghosted. He was absolutely gone. And that speaks volumes about just, what's happening there. So that was another media commentator who early on was like, just wait a second, maybe all is not as it seems with this girl.
Absolutely. She was always climbing the ladder. And that's a really good example of Pierce Morgan's the bigger star. Yeah, I'll meet up with you. I'll talk to you. Prince Harry starts calling. Pierce Morgan all of a sudden deleted from her cellular telephone. Rita Panahi, it is so great to talk to you. The YouTube page for Sky News Australia has your greatest hits. So if you're
I
not,
didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, you're hilarious on there. Some of your best material. So if you
Oh
are
yeah,
in
we've
this,
got a whole page for me.
oh
So
yeah,
your segments are there, Lefty's Losing It is there, and all the different segments we do every day. And yeah, we love YouTube because we've got just millions of subscribers, many of them in the US
yes.
and all around the world. So yeah, it's fantastic because obviously Australia is a relatively small country in population, so it's so good to be um, speaking in a way with millions around the world.
And your social media is so much fun as well. I leave you comments all the time like you are crazy because you have so much, you have such a great personality, and it's wonderful that I get to spend so much time with you. And I'm even more grateful that you took the time to do this today. So thank you so much for talking to me today, and I look forward to seeing you again in a few days.
At this point, Meghan's credibility is in free fall. And the question is, can she survive this, or is this the final sign that Hollywood is done with her? So now the big question, is Meghan Markle's Netflix show proof that she's completely out of touch? Is Hollywood finally waking up to the truth about her? And is this the end of Meghan's career? Let me know in the comments.